You know guys, there's a song on Trench that there's an awful lot of hype about. Can you guess which song that is? Yeah, it's The Hype. That was a bad joke, I know. But there's a good reason for any hype that there may be around this song, because it is an interesting song. There's a lot going into it, and we're gonna explain all of it right now. Hey everybody, I'm Clever Stummy, the Pop Song Professor, and welcome to my channel where we make English class awesome by explaining and sometimes roasting song lyrics on school days. And today we are talking about The Hype by 21 Pilots. Trench just dropped. If you haven't picked that up, you definitely should. And if you guys want to continue the conversation about this awesome album or this song, definitely check out the comments down below, as well as the description down below. You can check out my Patreon community. We have a really strong, interesting community of people. A lot of them care about 21 Pilots, and a lot of them care about writing good song lyrics and explaining and thinking about other songs, and it's always a really interesting conversation with these people, and I'd love for you to join us. But let's talk about The Hype, and we're gonna start with verse 1. So here we hear, sometimes I feel cold, even paralyzed. My interior world needs to sanitize. I've got to step through or I'll dissipate. I'll record my step through for my basement tapes. It's like he's setting the stage for the rest of the song. Basically, he's saying that there's something that feels cold or not right inside of him, and he needs to figure it out. And so he's gonna go to his basement tapes. His basement is where his studio is, so possibly he's gonna write a song to try to figure it out, which means that this song could be him trying to figure out what he's setting up, him not feeling right about here. I often feel a similar feeling where I feel like overstimulated, where there's just so much music or YouTube videos or shows or just emails or anything just coming from a lot of different sectors of my life, and I just feel like my mind is almost racing, like there's a lot of thoughts, and I just need to calm it down and slow it down, and if you will, polarize. And whether you're feeling overstimulated or paralyzed in the case of The Hype, a lot of times writing song lyrics and figuring out how to express yourself that way, or just to organize things mentally by journaling, is a really good way to get things figured out. And based on this verse, we know that Tyler is about to work through something. So in the chorus we hear, nice to know my kind will be on my side. I don't believe the hype, and you know you're a terrible sight, but you will be just fine. Just don't believe the hype. So he's using that word you. So we know he's talking to somebody, and it's interesting here because I don't know if he's ever done this before. In an interview with Coupe Domain magazine, he explained that the hype is actually to a younger version of himself. Obviously, we know that young Tyler has gone through some stuff. Some of those experiences seem to be the inspiration for other songs that we hear on other 21 Pilots albums, and they're certainly part of that inspiration for the song Kitchen Sink, and for the reason that he turns to song writing and lyric writing in the first place. But here what he seems to be saying is, nice to know my kind will be on my side, so that could be referring to the skeleton click. And he says, you know you're a terrible sight. And so he's saying like, kid, you're messed up. There's not a lot that's going on very well for you right now. There's mistakes that you've made that maybe other people have done that have hurt you. But he says, but you'll be just fine. He's saying you're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna make it through. And in a sense, this message isn't just for younger Tyler, it's also for Tyler Joseph's younger audience. But the one caution he gives him is just don't believe the hype. Now, the hype could be a lot of things. A standard dictionary definition is extravagant or intensive publicity or promotion, and I think that sort of captures it, but when I think of hype, I think of people making way more out of something than it really is. They're making something bad seem really bad. They're making something good seem really good, and a lot of us, it's really easy to get caught up in that and to kind of get lost in what is not necessarily true. We might think that our bad situations are worse than they are, and we might think that the things we've accomplished and how awesome we are is better than we really are. And Tyler Joseph is telling young Tyler Joseph, you need to stay true to what's true, not necessarily listen to what other people are telling you is true when they're just trying to manipulate you into feeling some way, whether that's trying to make you feel bad or feel really good. And in verse 2, we hear something that Tyler Joseph almost never writes lyrics about. I'll explain. Yeah, they might be talking behind your head. Your exterior world can step off instead. It might take some friends and a warmer shirt, but you don't get thick skin without getting burnt. A lot of times 21 Pilots lyrics are about the interior fights. They're about our mental struggles and our doubts and our fears and concerns with the lives that we live and all this stuff, existential crises. But here he says your exterior world, and so that's something he mentioned in the Court Domain magazine interview, was that a lot of times it's not just our interior world that influences who we are and how we feel, but it can also be our exterior world. And that's probably not a huge surprise to any of us, but it's not something that Tyler writes lyrics about very often. He says they might be talking behind your head. It could be other people who hurt his feelings, but he cautions them. He says you don't get thick skin without getting burnt. Now, it could be nice if we could all live in a world where we didn't need thick skin, but unfortunately, in a lot of situations, it's pretty necessary. So Tyler's telling himself, get some friends, get a warmer shirt to protect you from the cold, that cold that was mentioned maybe in verse 1. And he's also telling him, you're gonna get burnt. That's okay, it's the way things go, and you'll get tougher as time goes on. And I'm not completely sure about the bridge. He sings, no, I don't know which way I'm going, but I can hear my way around. But it seems as if the younger version of him was like, hey, have you figured things out? Do you know where you're going yet? And it's like older Tyler is saying, no, I don't quite know yet, but I can hear my way around. And so he's saying like, I am figuring it out slowly, and through limited input and data, I am slowly marking out a path that has worked so far, and I hope will continue to do so. Notice the contrast between stumbling along just by your ability to hear things and the concept of hype. Hype is too much stimulation and information, and stumbling along with only your ability to hear is very much a lack of information. But even still, only one method seems to actually be connected to the truth for Tyler. And guys, that's my explanation of the hype. If you want to continue this conversation, check it out down below, and check out my Patreon in the description. It's super inexpensive. It's like the cost of a couple of Red Bulls a month, and you get to be a part of a super cool community. So in the meantime, before I post more videos, because there's a lot more videos coming out explaining Trench songs, you can check out these videos right here. There's gonna be some older ones that I've already explained from Trench, and I hope that you guys have a great day. Happy Trenchsgiving. All right, bye.